diys-by-dar. This is the Thrift Flip Challenge, hosted by Kat from Owling Dog Furniture and LaVonne by Statement Designs. Find your friend, go on a trip, and here's my friend. This is Lester. He is an old family friend and a YouTube wannabe. So he says, "Come on, let's get going here." So we went looking 20 miles one way, 20 miles the other way to two Goodwills, and I found this mid-century modern piece for $5. The piece is in awesome shape, a lot of surface damage, but we'll make it. And then Lester says, "Come on, let's go." When I had a chance to really get it apart and check it over, legs are all good. The inside is great. Looking over the outside, there is a lot of surface scratches, some dings, some pock marks. The back has been started to be painted, so I'm going to have to finish that with some color. It looks pretty bad. So the inside is great. These drawers are awesome. And this is a name brand furniture called Harmony House, which these pieces are quite expensive when they are restored. Probably $500, $600. So I'm going to go ahead and do what I want with this anyway, hoping I get the same amount out. So sanding it, I did use some 220. The whole thing was sanded, drawers inside and out, and then I cleaned it after I brought it in the house to get all the dust and debris off of it so I could start to work on it, get it painted, and get the decoupage sheets on. Now here is that back. I did have to use some primer, some Zinsser Bullseye 123 on the bottom and the back. I did have to get out my Gorilla wood filler and fill some areas that were a little bit deep, and I used my little spatula as well to spread that out. I was taping it off because I'm trying to spare this wood on the inside and on the inside of the drawers as well. I had some corners I needed to fix that were kind of shredded a bit. Just had to take my time and get that form back up. Now I have some acrylic acid, which is basically just powdered bleach. Read your directions. It's usually 3-to-1. And it is a bleach water, and wear gloves if your hands are sensitive. But I just go ahead and I put this on the wood. And I did this 3 times to see if I could get this to straighten out with whatever those white stains are. Usually they're dark stains. In this case, I have white stains. Now I have some Annie Sloan paint, Florence and Provence mixed together to give me this kind of turquoisey green blue color, and I am going to get 2 coats on all the areas that need it, with some areas open because the decoupage paper is going to be adhered in that spot. So we get the 2 coats all on, and we'll let that dry, and then we will continue on. Here is my paper. This is the design Poly by Made by Marley Magic Papers. You can find Lel and Marty on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I am a brand ambassador for Made by Marley, so these papers were furnished to me to go ahead and make this project. So I had to fussy cut these right down the middle between the birds, and I opened them up wider, and I have an area right down in between them now that needs to be fixed with some painting. I'm going to go ahead and get the birds on the other side that have been separated. I have my Mod Podge, which is the glue of choice for Marley's paper. I have a soft brush, and I am applying this paste and pressing it down and smoothing it. Now, I rolled this paper back on itself because when I start something like this, I only want to get the first inch or two adhered straight at the very top. And then I'm going to slowly work my way down this paper and smooth it as I go. I want to smooth that paper down onto the paste with minimum bubbles or wrinkles. And usually it works out well. These did come out well. Once I get this all down, I'm going to take a soft cloth and I am going to go ahead and wipe over the whole top of the piece, and then also around all of those edges nice, including that bottom one that I have some paper over the edge that I'm going to have to remove once it is dry. I'm getting the second piece on this side, same thing, a couple inches at the top. Start to lay that down. Take your time. I have found if I'm rushed, my decoupage paper does not come out good. Take your time. Go slow. Now, these are dry, and I'm going to remove that excess off with some sandpaper, some 220 on a small little plastic sanding block, and 45-degree angle away from the paper, and you will cut that off enough and then just sand it a little bit, and you have an excellent smooth end. Here are the tops of my drawers. This paper was pretty cool. It had kind of a line where you could cut in between them and then get them square on your drawers. And Lester's an improvement. He likes it. So now I have some StazOn ink, and I have some IOD stamps in different flowers that I could find. And I need to fill this void in between these two birds with as many flowers that I can to make up that difference and match up that background. So here we go. We are going to do stamp, paint, maybe leave it at that point, or stamp again. So here are all my flowers. They are all stamped out, and now I am ready to go ahead and paint those in. Now, when I'm painting on some decoupage paper, I will try to take a piece of paper and put it over the top of that other decoupage area where my hand may be rubbing across, because you don't want to damage that paper. And if you're repeatedly rubbing your hand over the top, you can. So I try to protect it, and I get those areas painted in. At this point, I may take a lighter color, kind of like my secondary highlight, and I may just run some of that in there. I could go back over with the black paintbrush and call it good, or I'll take and ink that stamp up again and stamp over the top of it one more time, which I believe I did with this big white one and some of the other ones, just to give them that black outline again, to give them that 3D quality. So I used all acrylic paints with painting these because they're thicker and they'll give a little bit better coverage. And here we are. We are finished with one side of the parrots. Now I have some yellow ochre acrylic paint, and I have a somewhat flowery decoupage looking stencil, and yellow ochre really does catch that gold color, and you're still using paint. So I'm just using a paintbrush, and I'm doing swirly twirly, and I've got my design there. I've got it on the other side. I'm going to follow that pattern all the way up over the top, and then I'm going to switch the color to blue on the top and do a couple blue ones along the back and the front. And then once I get that completed, a few more stencils on that top in white along the edge, which will give me a few more layers of stencils on the top. So Lester said to me, Dar, get your IOD transfers and see if there's some that you can pick out that'll go on the top so we can get this project wrapped up a little bit quicker. So I went through and I found some that will work, and I cut them out. And this is IOD brand, and I like them. They seem to work a lot better than some of the other transfers. So I picked out a few of them that I thought would work on the top of here. Now you need to pay attention on which way you need to lay them down, because I need to put that small one on first so I can set that bigger one over the top of that bottom of that stem on that flower. So just place your transfer. You usually get a little stick that comes with them and start rubbing, and then you're carefully going to grab one end of that plastic and pull it up, and then you'll have your transfer placed. Now here is my big one. I'm being a little bit careful where I place it, because once any end of that touches, that's where you have to leave it, because if you try to pull it back up, you're going to leave a chunk of your transfer down on your piece. So set it and leave it alone. A lot of times after I press it down with my stick, if I get my fingers underneath there, I can kind of push from underneath, and it saves a little bit of time and seems to work. But here is the top. I'm getting a little bit closer, and there, finally, I have it finished. I have some white stenciling on the outside edge and a few more small flowers to fill in between those areas. Now I have some matte clear 2X Rustoleum. I need to seal all these areas I hand painted. I'm not going to take that chance. I want this to be ready for that last final tough top coat, which is Annie Sloan's chalk paint lacquer. 3 coats all over the outside. I put it on with a sponge. On those edges, I did do a stamp, and I also did some palette knife painting around some of the edges. And I put 3 coats of this lacquer on. Feed and wax, Howard's Feed and Wax. I am going to condition all of the wood. It needs it really bad. Howard's Feed and Wax is a little more liquid than a butter. It spreads easily. It has just a light scent of lemon to it, not overbearing. I did all of the drawers. I did the inside of the cabinet itself, and then right here on those rails, and on the rails on the inside, I gave them Howard's, and then I also did some beeswax just along those rails so it would slide a lot better. Dar, you need to make these legs better. Okay, here's some redesigned by Prima foil transfer, and it is in gold. So it comes in sheets that had a lot of different borders on it, and I thought that would be perfect. I can quickly get some gold around these legs, and then I am going to use a stencil. So basically, this works like a transfer, and you put it on what you want it to transfer to, and it's going to stick on there, just like a transfer, and you go ahead and rub that off. A lot of times I'll use my fingernail. I have a little green scrubby that I use. This stuff seems a little more delicate than other transfers, so I went a little bit easy and carefully, trying to get that gold transferred onto that leg. And when I was completed with this, it didn't look too badly. I really liked it. So from here, I'm going to go ahead, and I found a small piece of stencil that I liked, and I needed to get some designs, and the color was going to be a mix of blue. I was going to do blue and pink. So here is the stencil, and I'm just going to try to hold that as tight as I can and just do swirly twirly. Doesn't have to be perfect. I just need to get some color on these legs. So we'll get around and get all of these stenciled, and then I'm going to have to spray it again real light with some matte spray, and then we should be completed with this project. And there are my legs. look a little bit better, and I'm a little more pleased with them. Okay, there is this little baby when she started at my house, and here she is now. She has taken a glamorous turn. So let's enjoy her glamour shots. I want to take this time to thank Kat from Owling Dog Furniture and LaVonne from Statement Designs. And take the time to look at the other competitors in this challenge. It should be a lot of fun. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my video, like, subscribe. My next big piece is going to be October 2nd. And I think in between here, I may have a video of my booth. So, hey, have a good week.